new talent effects, hero adjustments, and stronger lore. Hey guys, what's up? The latest official server update is here, bringing tons of buffs, nerfs, and battlefield adjustments. Here's a quick recap on everything you need to know in this patch. First up are the buffed heroes. Brody is getting a smoother experience with reduced backswing on his first and second skills. This means he can follow up with another attack much faster. Expect his damage output to feel more fluid, especially when combining skills and basic attacks. Argus is getting a major sustain boost. Now all damage dealt will be converted to HP after his ultimate ends. On the old version, only the damage to heroes are counted, but now everything is included. This makes him way harder to take down, especially in chaotic fights. Pharsa's passive triggered too slowly in the late game, so now her ultimate will reduce the cooldown of her passive skill by 1 second per level. Plus, enemies marked with skill 1 will have their positions revealed. And finally, her special skill will give her even higher movement speed. Pharsa just got deadlier. Minotaur was feeling a little too clunky, so his first skill now has an increased dash distance. This should help him land his skills and engage more effectively. Finally, some love for Mino mains. Chip's teleport just got way better. Now you can teleport from anywhere without stepping on a portal. As long as you're out of battle for 5 seconds, you can zip across the map. This opens up some crazy plays. Can't wait to see what players do with it. Akai's ultimate now has a shorter cooldown and higher damage. More frequent ultimate sounds fun, unless you're on the receiving end. Johnson's second skill now reduces enemy magic defense by up to 30%. On top of that, the damage and slow effects are stronger. He's now more useful in team fights because of his new magic defense reduction. Natalia gets a shorter cooldown on her skill 1 and ultimate in the mid to late game. The dev said this was made to compensate for the new effect of their hit, which I'll show later. Eudora's skill 1 and 2 now cost less mana, and the devs confirmed she'll get a revamp in the future. Maybe it's finally time for Eudora to shine. Now let's check out the nerf section. Badang's skill 1 range is shortened. Meanwhile, skill 2 has a longer cooldown and a shorter dash distance. This should make his presence less oppressive. But don't count him out yet. Zhuxin's second skill now costs more mana, but in return, the damage is slightly higher. Her passive's max stacks are reduced to 15, which means you'll have to pause more often when using her second skill. But to compensate, mana regen per stack is up by 1%. She also gets 200 more base HP. Is it enough to move her out of the ban section? Julian has officially shifted his role from a fighter to an assassin. This means he only gets half of the hybrid defense from Rose Gold Meteor's unique passive. A nerf on Julian mains, but I think he's still good. Hanzo's ultimate now costs more energy per second, making it shorter. To compensate, he regains 20 energy when his enhanced second skill hits an enemy. So if you're up against Hanzo, you just have to avoid his second skill to shorten his ultimate duration. In exchange, his ultimate cooldown is now down to 12 seconds in the late game. Melissa's movement speed is down from 248 to 240, probably because most players don't upgrade her boots. Her skill 2's damage transfer ratio is 20% lower in the late game, but as a trade-off, the cooldown is 1 second shorter. Slight nerfs, but she's still a solid pick. Miya's passive damage is reduced by 10%, targeting her mid to late game power, less burst and more balance. Hayabusa can easily kill a squishy hero in the late game, even without using any stacks. To fix this, his ultimate damage is now lower by 10% attack scaling. In return, the damage from his stacks is now higher. This forces Hayabusa players to stock up before hunting squishy targets. Next are the adjusted heroes. The dev said Beatrix's grenade launcher was too strong, so they've nerfed its basic attack damage. But to balance things out, her submachine gun and shotgun's damage are now higher, and her shotgun ultimate cooldown is cut in half in the late game, from 24 down to 12 seconds. Expect some diversity in her weapon choices. Lukas's ultimate loses its aftershock damage, but in return, the base damage is now higher. Plus, the explosion now hits all enemies in range instead of just the first target. This should make his damage more consistent. Next are the battlefield adjustments. The talent killing spree will now activate when dealing damage to a hero with 30% below HP. That means you don't have to actually kill an enemy to activate the heal and movement speed. However, there's now a cooldown of 30 seconds. To reset the cooldown, you'll have to kill an enemy hero, so you get to activate it earlier, unlike before where it only triggers after getting a kill. Temporal range duration now extends by 2 seconds when you get a kill or assist. More uptime, more impact. Focusing Mark now gives 10% movement speed buff when activated. It lasts for 3 seconds with only a 4-second cooldown. That means you can keep the movement speed almost all the time as long as you keep hitting an enemy hero. Pull Yourself Together now reduces battle spell cooldown by 12% instead of 15%. But now you can stack it up to 8 times when you get kills or assists. That means you get a potential 20% cooldown reduction on spells and active items. Good news for Flicker users. Tenacity now gives 5% damage reduction instead of 15 hybrid defense, a shift from defense to damage mitigation. Firmness now grants an extra 2 hybrid defense, small but useful. Inspire now gives 5% cooldown reduction and an extra +2 mana regen, more mana for spell-hungry heroes. The Lord will now only evolve at the 18-minute mark, skipping the 12-minute evolution. All the Summon Lords will have the ability to charge towers, including the early ones. Also, the tower's explosive defense now deals damage to the Lord, making it harder for games to end early. Dire Hit no longer gives extra damage. Instead, if a roamer applies CC to an enemy, they get marked for 3 seconds and take extra damage from allies. If you're a Natalia roamer, time to change your roaming boots. Wind of Nature's unique passive, Wind Chant, now has a longer cooldown, from 70 to 90 seconds. A big hit for our marksman players. Rose Gold Meteor now costs 210 more gold. The devs felt it offered too many benefits, so they had to balance it by increasing its price. The defensive skill of towers can now knock back minions and heroes. The dev said marksmen on gold lanes are farming too quickly. To fix it, siege minions on the gold lane will have a -5% gold. Meanwhile, gold crabs will also have lower rewards. And that's everything in this official server update. We've got big changes on the Lord, talents, and gold lane. So which heroes do you think will dominate after this patch? Let me know in the comments.